She walked into the karate class wearing sweatpants and a gentle smile. No one suspected a thing. Not the black belts who laughed behind her back. Not the instructor who doubted her. And definitely not the men who thought they could intimidate her. But what they did not know, what no one could have guessed, was that this soft-spoken woman once vanished off the grid. After leaving a trail of bodies behind, they pushed her too far, and what happened next, no one in that dojo will ever forget. This is not just a story about revenge, it is a warning, because sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one you never see coming. Stay till the end to witness the shocking moment when the hunted becomes the hunter. And if you think you know how it ends, think again, hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready for a story you will not forget. It was a quiet Wednesday evening in suburban Ohio. The community center lights buzzed faintly overhead. Children laughed in the hallway, their footsteps echoing on polished floors. Inside the main gym, a beginner's karate class was just starting. Karen stood near the wall, adjusting her oversized white GI. She was in her late 40s. Soft voice, plain brown hair pulled into a loose ponytail. She looked like someone's friendly aunt. A gentle smile sat permanently on her face. No one took much notice of her, except for 3 men in black belts. Chad, Derek, and Vince. They towered over the other students, muscular, loud. They were not instructors, but they moved like they owned the place. Newcomers were their favorite targets. They spotted Karen the moment she walked in. Fresh meat, Chad whispered. They laughed. The instructor, Mr. Hanley, introduced Karen to the class. She is new. Be respectful. But the way Chad smirked, it was clear he had no intention of that. As the warm-up began, Karen followed along slowly. Her movements seemed stiff, awkward. She kept her eyes low. During partner drills, Derek was assigned to her. He rolled his eyes. She is going to slow me down, he muttered. Karen only nodded. When it came time to spar, Vince stepped in. I will take this one, he said, grinning. Karen bowed politely. He did not bow back. The room grew quiet. Vince charged fast, aiming a jab for her shoulder. Karen dodged. Barely. Then again. Each time, she stepped aside at the last second. The class watched, surprised. Vince's grin vanished. He swept at her legs. She jumped, a perfect arc. No one expected that. Karen landed softly, still calm. Then something shifted. Vince growled, now annoyed. He lunged again. This time, Karen moved faster. Too fast. She caught his wrist mid-air, twisted. With a sudden snap, Vince cried out. He dropped to one knee. The room gasped. Karen let go. Vince clutched his wrist, eyes wide. What was that? Derek whispered. Karen stepped back. Her breathing was steady. Mr. Hanley looked stunned. That was not white belt form, he said slowly. Karen turned to him. I trained in Kyoto for 6 years, stopped 15 years ago. No one spoke. Chad, still smirking, stepped forward. Lucky shot, he said. He raised his fists. Karen did not move. Back off, Mr. Hanley warned, but Chad charged. Karen's eyes flickered, just for a second. Then, she spun. A flawless roundhouse kick met Chad's temple. He dropped instantly, unconscious. Derek backed away. Karen turned slowly. Her soft smile returned. I just came for exercise, she said. But you made it uncomfortable. Mr. Hanley stepped forward. Where did you say you trained? Karen shrugged. Just a little dojo, no one important. But her eyes, they told a different story. One of violence, of control, of danger hidden beneath a simple exterior. The class stood frozen. No one dared speak. No one moved, except Vince, still on the floor, still trembling. Karen picked up her water bottle, walked past them, calm, silent, as if nothing had happened. She paused at the door, turned. Her voice was soft. Sometimes it is best not to judge by the belt color. Then she left, leaving only silence behind, and fear, the kind that lingers, because now they all wondered who she really was and what else she might be capable of. The next day, the dojo was quieter than usual. No music, no chatter, no smug laughter. From the back, Vince's wrist was in a brace. Chad had not shown up. Derek sat alone, stretching with stiff, robotic movements. Every few minutes, he glanced toward the door, waiting, hoping she would not return. But precisely at 6 p.m., the door creaked open. Karen stepped in. Same gentle smile, same loose ponytail, same oversized GI. But now, the room shifted around her. Tension rippled like heat off asphalt. Mr. Hanley stood straighter. Welcome back, Karen. She nodded politely, walked to the side, bowed, and began stretching on her own. Everyone avoided her gaze. Even Vince, who normally boasted about his fights, sat in the corner like a scolded child. New students were coming in that day, teenagers. Few mothers and fathers signed forms at the desk. Karen watched quietly. One of the mothers, Amanda, took the spot next to her. She smiled at Karen. First class? Karen tilted her head. For you, yes. Amanda laughed nervously. I hope it is not too intense. Karen's eyes flicked toward Vince's brace, then back to Amanda. You will be fine. Mr. Hanley clapped his hands. Begin! The class circled up. They went through the usual motions. Stretches, breathing, stances. Chad had not returned a message, and Derek kept flinching any time Karen moved nearby. It was during a partner drill that things turned again. One of the teenage boys, Jake, got cocky. He had a strong build and a lot of attitude. Amanda was his partner. Jake smirked, sizing her up. You sure you are in the right class, Mom? Amanda chuckled awkwardly. Just here to try something new. Jake shrugged. He jabbed too hard. Amanda winced. Sorry, he muttered, barely. Karen saw it. She stood slowly, walked over. Mr. Hanley noticed but said nothing. Karen gently tapped Jake on the shoulder. He turned, confused. Yes, switch partners, she said softly. Jake scoffed. I am good, thanks. Karen did not blink. I insist. There was something in her tone, something beneath the surface. Jake stepped back. Reluctantly, Karen faced him. They bowed. Jake barely dipped his head. Karen did not wait. She moved like wind, fast, silent, precise. She feinted left. Jake blocked. Too slow. Her hand came up under his elbow. Flipped him. He hit the mat hard. The whole class stopped. Everyone stared. Jake blinked at the ceiling. Stunned. Karen stood over him, calm. Control is part of discipline, she said. Jake nodded quickly, then scrambled to his feet. He never looked at her again. Amanda mouthed, "Thank you." Karen nodded once, then returned to her corner. Mr. Hanley exhaled slowly. He walked over to her. "Would you like to assist me with the advanced class?" he asked quietly. Karen smiled. "I am just here to stretch," she said. But her eyes, they never stopped watching, never stopped measuring, and deep inside them, there was something old, something dangerous, something that had not yet fully revealed itself. But it would, soon, because someone else had been watching. From outside the gym window, a tall man in a military jacket, scar above his left eye. He did not blink. He knew who she was, and he had been waiting for a long time. That night, Karen drove home in silence. The streets were wet from a light drizzle. She took the long way, passing by old buildings that held no meaning for most. But to her, each one was a memory, a shadow, a secret. She turned into her driveway, lights off, house still. She unlocked the door, stepped inside, and set her keys gently on the small table. Everything inside was neat, minimal, no photos, no clutter, only quiet. She walked to the living room, sat on the floor, crossed her legs, closed her eyes, and breathed. Deeply, slowly. Then a flicker of movement outside. Her eyes opened. No sound, but she knew someone was there. She stood, walked to the window without a sound, slid one curtain aside. Nothing, just darkness. Then a shadow moved, tall, deliberate. Karen stepped back, walked to the closet, reached into a box at the very back, pulled out an old, worn cloth. Inside it, a pair of calloused leather gloves, fighting gloves. She held them in her hands for a long moment, then slipped them on. They still fit perfectly. Outside, the man in the military jacket approached the porch. He did not knock. He waited. Eyes fixed on the door, unmoving. Karen opened it slowly. The rain picked up behind him. Wind howled. He looked at her, studied her face. "You are still alive," he said. His voice was deep, foreign. Karen said nothing. "Everyone thought you were dead," he added. Karen stepped out onto the porch, barefoot, calm. The man's eyes narrowed. "I should finish what we started." Karen's voice was low. "You tried that once. Different time," he said. She nodded. "Yes, and I was still better." He smiled slightly, then lunged, fast, but Karen was faster. She moved like smoke. His fist missed by an inch. She ducked low, struck his ribs. Once, twice. He staggered. Rain slammed down around them. She swept his legs. He hit the ground, rolled, came up swinging. Karen dodged, clenched her fist, and hit him hard in the throat. He collapsed to one knee, gasping. Still, he smiled. "You never lost it." Karen grabbed his collar, pulled him close. "Why are you here?" His lips were wet with rain and blood. "The others, they know." Karen froze. "The others?" He nodded. "They found out you are active again." Karen's breath caught. "How? Many?" "Enough," he coughed. "You need to run." Karen let him fall to the wet porch, stared into the storm. She had stayed hidden for years, careful, quiet. She thought it was over, but it was not, and now they were coming. Not just black belts. Not just bullies in a dojo, killers' ghosts, people like her, People trained to end lives, and she knew she would have to fight again, not to prove herself, not for revenge, but to survive. She closed the door behind her, walked to the basement, opened the metal case hidden in the floorboards. Inside, a blade, an old passport, a sealed envelope, and a coin. She picked it up, flipped it once. Heads. That meant war. Karen took a deep breath, then said aloud, "They should have left me alone." By morning, the man in the military jacket was gone. Only a faint trail of blood led down her driveway. The rain had washed most of it away. Karen stood at the window, sipping black coffee. Her hands were steady. Her mind was not. Not anymore. The name he spoke haunted her. The others. They were not ordinary. Not men who sparred for trophies or practiced for sport. They were trained for war, cold, precise, silent, just like she once was, and they would not come in uniforms. They would blend in, just like she did, a barista, a neighbor, a friendly face at the market, anyone, anywhere. The game had started again, and she was no longer sure if she had the strength to finish it, but she had no choice. By noon, she was back at the community center. The dojo smelled of mats and sweat. Mr. Hanley greeted her with a nod. "Everything all right?" he asked. Karen hesitated, then gave her practiced smile. "Yes, just had a long night." She stepped onto the mat. Amanda waved from across the room. Jake avoided her eyes. The class began. But something was different. Karen felt it. The room had changed. 2 new students stood in the back, both men, both silent. One was thin with dark eyes that never blinked. The other was tall with a slight limp. They introduced themselves as Travis and Ben, but their postures were wrong, too still, too balanced. Karen had seen it before. That subtle readiness, the tension in the heels. They were not here to learn. They were here for her. Amanda turned to Karen during drills. "They give me the creeps," she whispered. Karen gave a small nod. "They should." Mr. Hanley paired her with Ben. Their eyes locked. Ben smiled faintly. "You are better in person than they said," he muttered. Karen's face did not change. Then they were not paying attention. Ben struck first, too fast for a beginner. Karen blocked, stepped inside, and elbowed his sternum. He grunted, but smiled wider. "You are still sharp." Karen leaned closer. "Tell them I am not hiding anymore." Ben chuckled. "Oh, they already know." Behind her, Travis was circling, watching, waiting. Karen's senses sharpened. Not here. Not in front of these people. Not in front of Amanda. She let go of Ben's wrist, took a step back. "Class dismissed," Mr. Hanley called. Everyone began packing up. Amanda approached Karen. "Are you okay?" Karen forced a smile. "I need a favor. Anything. Take your son and do not come back here. Not for a few weeks." Amanda's face fell. "Is something wrong?" Karen looked over her shoulder. Ben and Travis were pretending to talk, but she knew better. They are not students. Amanda paled. Karen leaned in. "And if I do not come back, forget you ever met me." Amanda whispered. "Karen, who are you?" Karen's eyes met hers, and for a moment, just one, Amanda saw it. The killer behind the kindness, the ghost behind the smile. "I am someone they should have left buried," Karen said softly. Then she turned, walked past Ben, past Travis, out into the sunlight, and disappeared into the city, because the hunt had begun, and she was not running. She was circling, just like them, only better, because she had trained with the worst and survived. Now they would see what that really meant. Karen moved through the streets like a shadow. The city buzzed around her, traffic, sirens, distant laughter. But all she heard was silence, the kind that comes before a storm. She slipped through alleyways, past closed shops and broken signs. Her destination was clear, a storage unit on the outskirts of town. No cameras, no names on paper, just a keypad and a memory. She punched in the code. The metal door groaned open. Inside, the air was dry. Dusty, cold, but untouched. She flipped the overhead light. There it was, the crate, still sealed, still waiting. She pried it open and stared down at her past. A tactical vest, a suppressed pistol, foreign passports, a bundle of cash wrapped in faded rubber bands, and at the very bottom, a photograph. 5 people, smiling, in uniform. She touched each face. Only one was still alive. Her, and now the others were hunting her memory, trying to erase it. She took the pistol, checked the chamber. Clean, oiled, ready. She strapped on the vest beneath her jacket, slipped the photo into her pocket, and left. Outside, the sky had turned slate grey. Thunder rolled in the distance. She headed toward an address scrawled on the back of a folded map. It was time to visit someone she swore she never would, someone she had buried in her past. But he was the only one who might help, if he was still alive. His name was Jules Marrow, a former handler, a man with dirty hands and a dirtier conscience. Last Karen heard, he was living off-grid, or pretending to. The address led to an old motel. Faded neon. One truck in the lot. No front desk clerk. Karen knocked on room 12. Silence. She waited, then knocked again. He answered with a gun. Barrel first, then eyes, sharp. Suspicious. Until he saw her. He lowered the weapon. "Hell," he muttered. "You are supposed to be dead." Karen stepped inside. "I hear that a lot lately." Jules locked the door. Deadbolt, chain, curtain. "Why are you here?" Karen sat on the bed. "They are back. The unit." Jules froze. "Which ones?" "All of them." He sank into the chair. "You stirred the ashes." "They came for me first." He rubbed his face. "Someone reactivated the protocol. That is the only way they would move together." Karen nodded. "I need intel. Locations, movement, funding." Jules shook his head. "You do not understand. This is not a cleanup. It is a purge." Karen's eyes narrowed. "Then they are already too late." Jules looked at her. Saw the fire again, the thing she buried under yoga mats and volunteer hours. "You plan to kill them." Karen stood, strapped the pistol beneath her jacket. "I plan to remind them why they tried to kill me first." Jules sighed. "There is something else you need to know." Karen turned. His voice dropped. "They are not just hunting you." Her stomach turned cold. "They are using your name." Karen blinked. "What?" Jules nodded. "They have already taken down 2 people, both bodies left behind, staged to look like you did it." Karen's heart pounded. "They are framing me. Worse," Jules said. "They are sending a message, to draw out the last one." Karen froze. The last one. The final name on that old photograph. A woman. One Karen had once called sister, but who had vanished long ago. Evelyn. And if they were drawing her out, it meant they were not just cleaning up the past. They were planning something bigger. Much bigger. Karen stepped toward the door. Jules grabbed her wrist. You cannot fight them alone. Karen looked at him, eyes like steel. I never was alone. She opened the door. Rain fell like nails. Darkness waited. So did blood and betrayal. But Karen was ready. This time, she would strike first. Karen moved through the night like it belonged to her. Every step was silent, every breath controlled. She was no longer the quiet woman in a yoga class, no longer the polite volunteer at the animal shelter. She was the storm they tried to bury, and she was coming home. The abandoned industrial plant on the edge of the city loomed ahead. It was where they would be, where they had always ended things. Full circle. She slipped through a broken side door. The air was thick with rust and memory. Voices echoed faintly. She followed them, past old machinery, past steel beams and shadows, and then she saw them. 4 figures in black, all waiting, all armed. One stepped forward. Ben, still bruised from the dojo, still smiling like he had won. I knew you would come, he said. Karen raised her pistol. I always do. A voice from the dark. You are late. Karen turned, and there she was, Evelyn, alive, wearing black, eyes unreadable. Why are you with them? Karen asked. Evelyn stepped closer. I am not. The others turned, confused. Evelyn moved fast, too fast. Her blade flashed. 1 down, 2. Karen dove, fired. 3. Ben tried to run. Karen caught him, pressed the barrel to his chest. His smile faded. Please, he whispered. Karen held his gaze. This is mercy. The shot echoed. Then silence. Just Karen and Evelyn, standing among bodies, breathing hard, bleeding, alive. Evelyn wiped her blade. They used my name too, she said. Karen nodded. They wanted us dead. Evelyn looked around. Now they are. Karen sat on a steel crate, exhausted. Evelyn joined her. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Evelyn asked, What now? Karen looked at the door, at the world waiting beyond it. I disappear again. Evelyn nodded slowly. You will be safe. Karen smiled faintly. No, but I will be free. They stood, 2 ghosts from a forgotten war. No medals, no parades, only silence, only survival. Evelyn turned to go. Karen watched her walk away, then stepped into the morning light. The sun rose quietly. The city yawned to life. People hurried to work, unaware, unconcerned, just as she wanted. She was no hero, no legend, just a woman who had been pushed too far and reminded the world that even the quiet ones can be dangerous.